company recalling 270,000 of these because the cars can roll away unexpectedly. At this time, a fix is being developed, and Ford will let owners know when the parts are ready.
Ford just killed their future. They have had recalls on top of recalls, and they are not stopping anytime soon. Even their dealerships are eerily quiet in a nation where the name Ford evokes images of strength, reliability, and a deep-rooted connection to the American dream. The silence of this dealership speaks volumes about the uphill battles that lie ahead for the company. What happened? Right now, Ford is caught in a whirlwind of financial challenges that are proving to be quite daunting. Stock prices have taken a nosedive, plummeting by a staggering 18% over the past year. This significant drop is not just a blip on the radar. It reflects a serious loss of confidence among investors who once wholeheartedly believed in the iconic brand. Looking ahead to 2024, things aren't looking too rosy, with projections indicating that the company could face losses ranging between $5 billion and $5.5 billion. A major part of this financial struggle can be traced back to two things. Let's talk about it. Ford's EV gamble backfires. Ford's bold journey into the world of electric vehicles kicked off with a lot of excitement, and this is the first reason for their downfall. The company was on a mission to regain its title as a leader in the automotive realm during a time defined by a push for sustainability and fresh innovations. With eye-catching models like the F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E, Ford confidently set itself up as a strong competitor in the fast-growing EV market. Back in 2021, they announced a massive commitment of more than $50 billion to develop electric vehicles through 2026, with the ambitious goal of producing 2 million electric vehicles each year by that set date. This game plan was fueled by the conviction that consumer interest in electric vehicles would keep growing, alongside predictions that the global market would soar to a whopping $800 billion by 2027. Fast forward to mid-2024, and Ford's electric vehicle division, known as Model E, is facing some seriously grim financial challenges. In the first quarter alone, the company reported shocking losses of $1.3 billion. Let's break that down a bit. That averages out to about $132,000 lost for each of the 10,000 electric vehicles sold during that period. By the end of the year, it's estimated that Model E's total losses could reach between $5 billion and $5.5 billion. This marks a stark contrast to their earlier projections and hopes. To give you more context, the revenue for Model E took a dramatic hit, dropping by a staggering 84% to roughly $100 million in the first quarter of 2024 compared to the previous year. These figures present a clear picture of the hurdles faced by traditional auto manufacturers trying to transition smoothly into the electric vehicle space. A major miscalculation in Ford's strategy has stemmed from its emphasis on designing expensive electric vehicles. This jump has understandably deterred countless potential buyers, especially in areas like Whiteville, North Carolina, where consumers tend to prioritize practicality over luxury. Just picture it. A charming, modest home in Whiteville stands in stark contrast to the shiny, pricey F-150 Lightning parked outside. This scene highlights the disconnect between what Ford is offering and what the average consumer actually needs. Many locals would rather spend their money on affordable vehicles that cater to everyday demands, rather than splurging on luxury trucks that stretch their budgets thin. The competitive landscape has transformed dramatically as well, thanks to the emergence of Chinese automakers like BYD and NIO, which provide lower-priced alternatives that resonate with budget-minded consumers. For example, BYD's models frequently come in at significantly lower prices than what Ford offers, while still boasting competitive features and driving ranges. This situation feels reminiscent of a David versus Goliath scenario, where Ford finds itself struggling against nimble competitors who can swiftly adapt to changing market needs. Just last year, BYD snagged nearly 30% of the electric vehicle market in China. As these bold manufacturers continue to expand internationally, they represent a growing challenge to established automotive giants like Ford. Moreover, Ford's insistence on focusing mainly on upscale trucks and SUVs has blinded it to the burgeoning demand for affordable, fuel-efficient vehicles. The irony is striking, as Ford decided to discontinue popular sedan models like the Focus and Fusion right when subcompact crossover sales surged by 20%. It left consumers searching for other options. Recent statistics indicate that compact car sales leaped by 12%, even as truck sales dipped by 4%. Interestingly, Interestingly, the Mitsubishi Mirage is currently the only new car available for under $20,000 in the US, showcasing a glaring oversight in Ford's product offerings, especially as consumer needs continue to evolve. When looking closer at the F-150 Lightning, it serves as a vivid example of Ford's greater struggles in the EV sector. Originally billed at around $40,000, it appealed to truck lovers who wanted to make the switch to electric. Yet soon after launching, the price surged to about $60,000, causing it to lose touch with budget-conscious buyers who were initially excited about its potential. This contradiction is puzzling. Ford projected booming sales based on early buzz and pre-orders, but many dealerships are now reporting that unsold Lightnings are gathering dust on their lots, a far cry from the earlier cheerful forecasts. This predicament begs the question, can Ford pivot effectively and realign with what consumers actually want? While other EV models struggled in the market, the Mustang Mach-E has emerged as a bit of a success story within Ford's lineup. While sales numbers have been encouraging, it's important to note that this success isn't without its caveats. A significant part of the Mach-E's sales surge has been due to external factors, such as the access it has to Tesla's vast charging network and aggressive price cuts made by both Ford and Tesla. Despite its initial popularity, owning a Mach-E comes with its own set of hidden costs. Depreciation is rapid, meaning that owners could see their vehicles lose up to 50% of their value in as little as 3 years. This steep depreciation is notably harsher compared to Tesla's vehicles, which tend to hold their value better. As a result, early owners may face significant financial hurdles when it's time to sell or trade in their vehicles. But what's the second reason? Quality control. Ford has been feeling the heat lately over its quality control practices, and let me tell you, it's not a good look. The company has earned quite the notorious reputation for topping the recall charts for 3 years in a row. In 2023 alone, they issued over 100 recalls that affected millions of vehicles, a troubling trend that has left many consumers second-guessing the reliability of the brand they once loved. Just think about it. When you hear Ford, you probably think of dependable trucks and family SUVs, but now people are starting to wonder if those vehicles can really be trusted. Just to give you an idea of the scale of this issue, some of the most alarming recalls involve popular models like the Ford Escape, Maverick, and Lincoln Corsair. These vehicles were called back due to serious fire risks caused by engine failures, which could lead to overheating and potentially disastrous fires. That's a big deal. Nobody wants to find themselves in a vehicle that could ignite. But wait, there's more. About 43,000 Ford Broncos were pulled back for gas leakage issues, posing not just a fire hazard, but also raising serious environmental and regulatory concerns. On top of that, over 550,000 F-150s faced recalls due to faulty transmissions that could shift gears unexpectedly, significantly heightening the chances of accidents. And as if that wasn't enough, an additional 91,000 Broncos and F-150s were recalled due to catastrophic engine failures caused by cracked intake valves. Just imagine, you could be cruising along only to have your engine fail completely. That's especially alarming when you consider that the F-150 is one of Ford's flagship models and a bestseller for a reason. Now, these recalls are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Ford's ongoing quality struggles. In 2022 alone, the automaker had to issue recalls for over 2 million vehicles across various models. The reasons behind these recalls range from airbag malfunctions to fuel system failures. Just take a moment to think about the implications of such a high volume of recalls. It highlights some major problems in Ford's manufacturing and quality assurance processes. One particularly telling case is that of the Bronco's fuel injector issues. Reports indicated that certain fuel injectors had a nasty habit of leaking, creating fire hazards under certain circumstances. Rather than tackling the problem head-on with a solid fix, Ford opted for what many critics have labeled a band-aid solution. Instead of replacing the faulty injectors, they directed the leaked fuel to simply drip onto the ground. This approach raises serious concerns about Ford's commitment to customer safety and well-being. Critics have voiced that this quick fix doesn't resolve the root of the issue, and, in fact, could introduce new risks like engine slowdowns and stalling. Can you picture it? One frustrated owner recounted their experience of a leaking injector causing their vehicle to unexpectedly stall in heavy traffic, almost leading to a major accident. All of these recurring quality issues have taken a significant toll on consumer trust when it comes to the Ford brand. A recent survey by Consumer Reports revealed something shocking. Customer satisfaction ratings for Ford vehicles have dropped by nearly 20% over the last 3 years. It's no wonder, with increasing complaints about recalls and delayed repairs piling up on social social media and automotive forums, people are getting fed up. Just listen to this sentiment from one FY150 owner. "I got the recall notice months after already experiencing problems with my truck. It felt like they were waiting for something catastrophic to happen before they decided to step in." And unfortunately, many people feel the same way, believing that Ford's response times are nowhere near adequate for addressing such serious defects. As these quality control issues stack up, they contribute to a growing perception that Ford vehicles simply aren't reliable and are costly to maintain. You won't be surprised to hear that some dealerships are reporting declining sales figures for certain models as consumers flock toward brands that are seen as more reliable. Take Patriot Ford in Whiteville, North Carolina, for example. This dealership is experiencing a noticeable decline in foot traffic and sales, largely due to ongoing recalls and a wave of customer dissatisfaction with Ford products. A parts manager at the dealership had this to say: "It's really tough. We used to have customers lining up for F-150s, but now they're starting to hesitate." This situation mirrors broader trends in the industry, with reports indicating that over 1,000 dealerships closed their doors in 2023 alone. A lot of these closures were attributed to declining consumer confidence in brands like Ford, signaling that Ford's issues are not isolated. They're indicative of a much larger crisis that threatens its reputation and market share. But it doesn't stop there. The ramifications of these quality issues run deeper than mere inconvenience. They translate into significant financial strains for consumers. You see, modern vehicles often come with complex technology and proprietary parts that can lead to sky-high repair costs. Many repairs on newer models require specialized technicians, who can often only be found at authorized dealerships. This leads to increased repair bills. One study even showed that average repair costs for recalled vehicles can soar beyond $1,500. That's an expense that many consumers are simply not prepared for. And to add fuel to the fire, insurance premiums have spiked due to these higher repair costs and safety worries tied to multiple recalls. Let's not forget this consumer's experience. "After my vehicle got recalled for transmission issues, getting it serviced was a complete nightmare. I ended up shelling out money for repairs while I waited weeks for a dealership appointment." Talk about a frustrating situation. This illustrates just how much of a ripple effect these quality control problems can have on consumers' wallets. Ford's ongoing quality control challenges raise serious concerns that go beyond operational hiccups. They pose significant reputational risks that could influence the company's long-term stability in a fiercely competitive automotive market. Consumers today are demanding better from manufacturers, and it's crucial for companies like Ford to tackle these systemic issues head on, not just for their bottom line, but for the safety and well-being of their customers too. It's a tough road ahead, but if Ford hopes to regain that trusty reputation, they'll need to step up in a big way. Ford's desperate measures and their hidden costs. See, Ford is really shaking things up with some aggressive pricing strategies lately to keep pace in an automotive world that's changing faster than ever. The company has slashed prices on various models, including electric vehicles like the popular Mustang Mach-E. These price cuts range from $2,675 all the way up to $7,000. Now, while it might seem like a fantastic way to lure in cost-conscious buyers and boost demand, it makes you wonder, how sustainable are these strategies really? One big reason behind Ford's price reduction is increasing competition from brands like BYD, which are rolling out appealing alternatives at lower price points. This shift in approach points to a larger trend in the car industry, where manufacturers must constantly tweak their pricing to keep up with consumer expectations and market dynamics that are always in flux. But here's the catch. These discounting strategies might come with some hidden costs. Let's break it down. Analysts are cautioning that while short-term sales might get a nice bump from these price cuts, the long-term profitability of Ford could really take a hit due to shrinking profit margins. The automotive industry is notoriously famous for having razor-thin profit margins. On average, automakers operate with margins of only about 5% to 10%. If Ford finds that their price cuts are leading to an even lower profit per vehicle sold, they could be staring down some significant financial hurdles in the future. Plus, if competitors start jumping into a pricing war, constantly undercutting each other, it could hurt everyone involved, not just Ford. Think about it, no one wins in a race to the bottom. Now, let's unpack Ford's dealer incentive program called the Stair-Step Plan. This setup is crafted to boost sales by telling dealerships they can earn bonuses based on how many vehicles they sell. At first glance, it might sound great, but there's a darker side to this incentive system. It can lead to some pretty unethical practices. Dealerships can feel immense pressure to sell, often prioritizing sales volume over customer satisfaction. This can result in some questionable sales tactics. For instance, you might find some dealerships aggressively upselling features or even misrepresenting what certain cars can do, all just to hit those sales targets and snag those bonuses. This pressure creates a cycle where dealerships might choose quick profits over building long-lasting relationships with their customers. According to reports, many of these practices have resulted in a spike in customer complaints about deceptive sales tactics and poor service experiences. It's a slippery slope when dealers feel like they have to engage in such tactics just to stay afloat in today's cutthroat market. And what about quality control? Ford's aggressive pricing strategy could have some troubling implications there too. As they drop prices, there's a risk that they might start cutting corners on essential areas like research and development or quality assurance. You can see this kind of thing happen in the airline industry, where low-cost carriers often compromise service quality just to stay profitable. For example, airlines that focus entirely on offering low fares have faced criticism for subpar customer service and lax maintenance practices. Reports have emerged suggesting that some Ford dealerships are taking shortcuts with repairs and maintenance, driven by pressure from reduced compensation rates for warranty work. In fact, a whistleblower shared that technicians are sometimes incentivized to rush through repairs rather than do a thorough job. This approach could create dangerous situations for consumers. Not only do these practices endanger vehicle safety, but they also chip away at Ford's reputation as a reliable automaker. Another twist in the story is Ford's use of proprietary technology and software when it comes to repairs. By funneling repairs toward their own dealerships and steering customers away from independent mechanics, Ford limits consumer choice and drives up repair costs. With fewer options available, consumers typically face longer repair wait times and inflated prices because competition is stifled. Many independent mechanics struggle to get access to the important diagnostic tools or repair information that's necessary to fix modern vehicles equipped with all the latest technology. The unfortunate result? Higher repair bills and extended periods of downtime for consumers as they wait for parts or services from authorized dealers. Recent data shows that the average repair bill for vehicles has soared by over 20% in just the last 5 years, which places an extra financial load on consumers who are already grappling with rising vehicle ownership costs. In the face of these mounting challenges, a movement advocating for consumer rights, known as the Right to Repair movement, has emerged as a powerful force. This movement is pushing for laws that would require manufacturers like Ford to provide consumers and independent mechanics with access to critical repair information, tools, and parts. The overarching goals of the Right to Repair movement are to empower consumers by giving them options for where they can service their vehicles without being tethered exclusively to dealership networks. Measures promoting this movement have already gained traction. For example, voters in Massachusetts recently passed legislation mandating that automakers must make diagnostic information available. However, Ford has pushed back against these laws, citing safety and cybersecurity risks as their main concerns. They argue that unrestricted access could potentially compromise vehicle security. The implications of the Right to Repair movement could be huge. If it gains national support, it might fundamentally change how consumers interact with their vehicles while dramatically altering the competitive landscape within the automotive repair industry. While Ford is grappling with its aggressive pricing strategies and dealer incentive programs amidst intense competition, these methods come with hidden costs that could undermine their long-term stability. As the automotive world continues to evolve, Ford will need to navigate these treacherous waters carefully or face the possibility of losing their stronghold in a rapidly changing market. Ultimately, the relationship between pricing strategies, dealership tactics, quality control measures, monopolistic repair practices, and consumer empowerment movements like Right to Repair will not only shape Ford's future, but also redefine the entire automotive industry in the years that lie ahead. But the controversy doesn't stop there. The data dilemma. In today's world, modern vehicles are evolving into super sophisticated data collection hubs, capturing a wealth of information about how they operate, driver behavior, and the conditions around them. Have you ever thought about how much data your car might be generating? According to a revealing report from McKinsey, connected cars could potentially churn out a staggering 25 gigabytes of data every single hour. This isn't just a bunch of numbers. We're talking about everything from engine performance stats to your driving habits and where you've been. This treasure trove of data opens up exciting possibilities, like enhancing safety features, tailoring experiences specifically for drivers, and streamlining traffic flow. Picture this: advanced driver assistance systems, or ADAS, are using real-time data to make our roads safer with technologies like automatic braking, lane keeping assists, and collision detection. Tesla's autopilot system perfectly embodies this trend, always on the lookout, collecting data from its growing fleet to tweak its algorithms and enhance safety for all of us behind the wheel. And it doesn't end there. Automakers are also leveraging this enormous data pool to deliver personalized experiences for each driver. Take Ford's Sync infotainment system for example. It learns your preferences over time and automatically adjusts things like climate control and seat settings tailored just for you. That's some next level convenience. On top of that, aggregating vehicle data has practical benefits for cities too. Look at Los Angeles. The city is already tapping into data from connected vehicles to optimize traffic signals and ease congestion, ultimately providing a smoother driving experience for everyone. However, all this data collection comes with a big red caution sign regarding privacy and security. As cars gather more information, the risk of that data being misused skyrockets. There have been some shocking incidents that highlight these vulnerabilities. For instance, researchers discovered serious flaws in Kia's owner portal that made it possible for hackers to effectively gain control over millions of cars using just a vehicle's license plate. Imagine that. Not only did this breach threaten vehicle security, but it also endangered sensitive personal information such as names, addresses, and phone numbers. Then there's the jaw-dropping case of an unsecured database revealing sensitive data on 10 million US vehicle owners that was leaked online. This information included names, addresses, vehicle identification numbers, and even payment details from car dealerships. Talk about a recipe for identity theft and financial fraud. In light of these privacy concerns, the Federal Trade Commission has decided to step in, launching investigations into the data practices of car manufacturers. Their goal? To make sure consumers are fully informed about how their data is collected and utilized. They're pushing for more transparency across the automotive industry, calling for clear privacy policies that outline just what rights consumers have. For example, the FTC has scrutinized companies like General Motors for their handling of customer data in connected vehicles, promoting the idea that automakers should have robust security measures in place to protect consumer data from breaches or unauthorized access. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about electric vehicles. As these cars become more common on our roads, a concerning trend is starting to show up. Insurance companies are increasingly writing off EVs as total losses even after minor accidents. Why is this happening? It largely comes down to the high repair costs tied to EVs, which often end up being more than the vehicle's market value itself. Let's say you have a minor fender bender in a Tesla Model 3. Repair bills could soar upwards of $15,000 due to its complex battery system and proprietary parts. In stark contrast, a similar repair job on a traditional gas-powered vehicle might set you back only a few $1,000s. This stark difference is forcing insurance companies to declare EVs total losses much more frequently compared to their gasoline-fueled counterparts. This trend has significant consequences for EV owners. Many EV owners find themselves in a financial bind, stuck with loans that exceed the value of their cars after an accident. On top of that, as insurers adapt their policies in light of rising repair costs, premium prices may rise as well, making car ownership even more burdensome for many. Looking ahead, we should consider some critical questions about the future of car ownership and what lies ahead for the automotive industry. Will Ford's recent focus on affordability pay dividends? They're pivoting back toward affordability after experiencing challenges with higher-priced EVs like the F-150 Lightning. But will this change be sufficient to win back consumer trust? Analysts are suggesting that Ford not only needs to lower prices, but also improve quality control to truly win over dissatisfied customers.